Hello again and welcome to my video on Battlefield 4. Today I'm going to be reviewing the M16A4 and the M4 carbine simultaneously. Both weapons are similar to each other but with different stats. Both weapons are only burst fire only weapons. The M16 is only available to the assault class, whereas the M4 carbine is available for all classes. Both weapons have a fast reload time and a fire rate of 800 rounds per minute. I will explain how the burst fire mechanic works. With the M4 and the M16 being only burst fire only weapons, the first shot recoil multiplier is going to be transferred to the third shot. In this clip I'm using the AEK to prove that. To start off the review on the M16A4, I'm playing hardcore mode. In hardcore mode, infantry only has 60 health. Due to infantry only having 60 health, this makes the M16 have a much faster time to kill and can oftentimes one-burst your enemy depending on how you land your shots. The M16A4 has a max damage output of 24.5, first shot recoil multiplier of 2.3. However, like I mentioned earlier, that first shot recoil multiplier is not transferred until the third shot after you fire. The M16 has a 650 meters per second for muzzle velocity, 380 meters per second if you have a suppressor on it, where this puts the M16 compared to other assault rifles, making it the second fastest muzzle velocity of all the assault rifles. The M16 has a reload time of 2.37 seconds with an empty reload. Playstyle and setup is going to vary based upon what game mode you're playing with the M16. Ideally, you want to play a more defensive role with the M16. You could still make the M16 work in an offensive playstyle, but you want to try to distance yourself from other enemies. In a close quarters battle between the M16 and the FAMAS is going to win in close quarters. For medium and long range engagements, always let the weapon reset after each burst fire mode shot. For my setups, I ran with two different combinations on the M16. For my first setup that you see now on Dawnbreaker in hardcore mode, I ran with the reflex sight, no accessory, an angle grip, and a muzzle brake. I chose not to run any accessories because the laser sight primarily just gives your position away. A muzzle brake and an angle grip turns the M16A4 into a DMR in disguise. For my second setup that I ran to play a more close quarters playstyle, I ran with the holographic sight, a laser sight, an ergo grip, and a muzzle brake. The laser and the ergo grip mitigates the M16 to be more of a better choice in close quarters. I still ran the muzzle brake for my barrel to mitigate some of that high combined recoil. The M4 carbine is available to all classes. Has a max damage output of 24, a first shot recoil multiplier of 2.4, 1 point more than the M16. The M4 has a muzzle velocity of 540 meters per second and 330 meters per second when running a suppressor, placing the M4 in 4th place of all the carbines for the fastest muzzle velocity. The reload time on the M4 is 2.4 seconds empty and 1.85 seconds with rounds left in the mag. For the playstyle that I'm running with the M4 is that I'm playing support for close to mid-range engagements. For long-range engagements, I'll pull off the XM25 airburst to pick off enemies at longer range. For the setup, I'm running a Cobra sight, laser sight, ergo grip, and a muzzle grip. Just like the M16 on Go Mud Railway, I ran the ergo grip and a laser sight to mitigate close quarters engagements. Changing up game modes from Team Deathmatch to Conquest, I'm now running the M4 with the Recon class. With the Recon class, it's all about awareness and stealth. For the setup that I'm running on the M4 is the Coyote sight, target detector to spot enemies, an angle grip to reduce the recoil of the M4, and a suppressor to keep me off the minimap when engaging enemies. Like I mentioned before with the Recon class, it's all about awareness and stealth. The Tugs in general is helpful for not only you, but your team to get the drop on their enemies. tugs will alert you to nearby enemies that are coming close by. With the tugs, how this is helpful with this setup is that you will be able to get the drop on your enemies by knowing their movements and getting up behind them to where they least expect an attack. Now back to hardcore mode. I'm now running the M4 with the assault class. The purpose of running the M4 with the assault class is to be more offensive. With the setup on the M4 that I'm running is the reflex sight, no accessory, an angle grip, and a muzzle brake. Like with the M16A4, the muzzle brake and the angle grip combination turns the weapon into a DMR in disguise. The one major problem with the M4 carbine in itself compared to the M16 is that the M4 carbine is going to have a higher time to kill compared to the M16. Carbines in general have more time to kill due to less damage at range. If you're running assault, it will make more sense to run the M16A4 for that very purpose. Overall, I like both weapons. I still prefer to use both weapons in hardcore mode due to the burst fire capabilities. If I forgot to mention something about both these weapons, please let me know in the comments. Whichever weapon you also like better, please let me know. Thanks for watching.